So good morning, everybody, and welcome to our weekly training with our community partners here at the Ohio Meets Jobs Columbus Franklin County Job Center. Today, we have Michael and the team from Share Mobility here. Michael, Vivian, Safa, so welcome to our staff training. Why don't you guys take a moment and introduce yourselves, and we'll get started.
Fantastic. Scott, first, thanks for having us. We're really excited to present today, talk more about Share Mobility, how we help businesses across the state of Ohio. I'm Michael Martins. I'm Share Mobility's Chief Revenue Officer and based in Columbus, Ohio. Viv, do you want to go next?
Hello, I am Vivian Niga. I'm based in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I'm in partnerships.
And I am Safa Salih, and I am the channel partnership working for Share Mobility. I am glad to be part of the meeting today.
Well, welcome to all of you.
Excellent. We'll jump right on in. I'll share my screen, have a brief presentation, and then we'll walk through a little bit of our technology kind of in tandem, because I think this is going to be very helpful to aid the conversation. So first off, who are we? So we are an Ohio-based technology company, and we provide shared transportations for communities and enterprise organizations. The vast majority of our programs, not just in the state of Ohio, but across the country, are focused in on the hourly workforce. We work with manufacturing and logistics companies to help them introduce mobility as a benefit to better attract talent and better retain talent. We truly believe that transportation is one of the biggest barriers to employment, whether you live in a densely populated area like Columbus, Cleveland, or Cincinnati that has fairly robust public transit, but it's even more apparent as you get into some of the more rural communities where public transit options or just mobility options in general might be lacking. And so we build a system for companies to provide transportation as that employee benefit. And our goal is to make commuter benefits as common as health insurance. Right now, very few companies, not just in Ohio, but we really see across the country, have never really entertained or explored using commuter benefits as kind of a tool in the HR chest in terms of recruiting and finding talent. And so who do we serve? So as I mentioned, it's primarily manufacturing and logistics, but from there's some really specific industries where we found some really nice traction and overlap very well with the types of companies and industries that we see so prevalent here in the state of Ohio. So manufacturing, whether it's for wood for homes, shingles, drywall, food and farming production has been massive for us across the country. We work with notable customers like Chobani, Purdue Farms, Pilgrim Foods, Dot Foods. Logistics obviously has been a large segment for us with in COVID now almost 3 years. A lot of shopping and e-commerce has really exploded. So we're working with, Wayfair, Honda Logistics, Penske Logistics, and then labor services as well. So staffing companies across the country, Aramark most notably. And then we do have partnerships outside of those with municipalities, two specifically in Central Ohio, the city of Dublin and the city of Hilliard, where we're running senior programs for them. So helping individuals who are aging in place get out into the community to shopping, restaurants, healthcare appointments. And with Dublin, we're actually running a first mile, last mile connector from COTA stops to the front door of businesses in the city of Dublin. And the platform that we've built, and I'll kind of give everybody a little peek at it a little bit later, also helps run some public transit agencies across the country, most notably here in Ohio, just a little south of us from Columbus. Chillicothe Transit runs all of their fixed route, scheduled, and on-demand programs on our platform. And we're proud to announce that last week we just kicked off a major program with the RTA up in the city of Cleveland, where we are moving manufacturing and logistics employees from a transit center just a little west of the city of Solon to Job Hub. So we're really trying to help, not just organizations, but municipalities and transit agencies address and tackle what we call the spatial mismatch, where there are, clusters of people in one area, but the jobs are usually in a completely different area of town. And so this public-private partnership can really help bridge that gap and help, companies fill their open jobs. And so as we think about companies in Ohio, we have, one of the acronyms we use is ICP, Ideal Customer Profile. So what does that ideal facility look like for us? It has a large hourly population, usually in rural. That's where we start to see, the most traction. Scott, you mentioned earlier Amerisourceburg, and that's just kind of outside the 270 loop. So that kind of does fall into that. We work with a couple Honda suppliers that are west of Columbus in the London, Ohio area. So to kind of give you some context when we think of rural, 2 to 3 shifts and usually 100 plus workers per shift. So that's one of the really unique things about our programs is we run 24/7, 365. We mirror our operations up with the shift schedule that those employers have. So if, a shift starts or ends at 2 a.m., we're running. So we really become that first, second, third, 7-day-a-week solution for them, which is sometimes where they struggle. And really, that final bullet point on that ICP is they have a problem with high turnover and hard to fill jobs. And it's usually both. It's usually not one or the other. It's usually we can't find enough people and they're having to mandate overtime or mandate weekends, and it burns out that existing workforce. Or they're, that employee is looking at an employer down the street that might have bumped their pay 50 cents, $1, $2 in some cases. So we really help kind of allow them to kind of block that workforce in. And so we talk about what that, ideal customer profile looks like. One of the other key pieces, and that's, one of the main reasons why Viv and Safa are joining us as well, is our partnership with nonprofits. So we really quickly realized that, our HR partners, because that's primarily who we work with, still need some help in trying to identify where those, the great clusters of people are. And we've had some tremendous work done where we become the kind of matchmaker between nonprofits and the employers and bridge that gap between those two populations with our technology and operations. So we work really closely with primarily refugee-based nonprofits that get resettled to our country, usually settled in a very kind of specific area, which makes it very efficient for us to provide transportation. But in almost all cases, there's no vehicle associated with those individuals or those families. So the jobs, again, that spatial mismatch we spoke about earlier, the jobs are here, the individuals are here, and they become, incredibly loyal employees because the companies provide transportation for them. So one of the kind of walking through this piece, because it's been great for us, is we really meet with that nonprofit and understand the needs that their clients have. Then we kind of play matchmaker. We reach out to existing corporate partners that we find to kind of find where opportunities would work. And then we set up an introduction. The nonprofits are very critical in a good way about what is the pay, what is the benefit. They're not just looking for any job for their clients, but they want to make sure that this is, a job they can be proud of, that's going to pay well, that's going to provide benefits, give upward mobility. And then from there, right, it's that transportation barrier that becomes that challenge. And then that's where we become the solution. We're able to provide that 24/7, 365 service. We work with great groups in Central Ohio, like CRIS, Community Refugee Immigration Services, and Jewish Family Services. We've been providing close to 60 employees to a Honda Tier 1 supplier in London, Ohio. So it's a great all-around program. Those are the ones that make us feel really good when we get to work every morning, that we're connecting, great individuals to great employment opportunities. And it's really our technology and operations that bridge that gap. But this is kind of one of the bolt-on components for us. I wanted to park here for a minute to talk about it because they've been so wildly successful. And we're just looking at replicating that throughout the state. So, as I mentioned in that first slide, we're a technology company. And so, our product is end-to-end platform for enterprise companies. We have our own proprietary routing algorithm. But one of the first things that we do, I'm going to kind of move over to a different screen real quick. So this is giving you a little peek at the technology platform itself. So on top of the operational experience that we have, that we can launch operations in any market in Ohio, we really take this kind of consultative approach with these organizations. So, it could be an employer on the outskirts of Cleveland. So we're trying to identify first here what that density looks like. Where are those large clusters of people? Because that for us is kind of the key. How can we be going where there's really dense pockets of individuals? But then as we look at it, we really, since we focus in on manufacturing and logistics companies with the hourly workforce, we really want to layer then in socioeconomic data, so we can identify where that really nice overlay of dense population, but with the right socioeconomic data together. So the easy way to read this is the deeper the blue, the higher the annual household income. The deeper the red, the lower, but in line with the hourly population. So this is a tool that we provide companies that are, exploring working with us. This could be a tool that Ohio Means Jobs uses with some of their employer partners, just to help them better understand that landscape in their backyard. Or, what is that next closest market out that I could potentially unlock if I were to be able to provide, transportation from that community into our place of employment. Our programs really help them recruit further because you're taking away the commute time and really the cost of commuting. So we take a very data-driven approach. We have a function here where we can upload the employee's anonymous address information. So we'll drop pins and identify against these layers of data where those dense clusters of employees currently reside. So where we know we could run mobility from day one and get nice ridership and then double and triple down. But where are those areas that from a density and socioeconomic standpoint should be key recruitment areas for them, but for some reason not able to unlock? And could we unlock those if transportation was provided? So we can look at this. We obviously have 50 states of data in here, but we're obviously highly focused in on Ohio for this. But, it'll take a market like Columbus, where you have kind of density in and around and now starting to expand outside of 270, but it allows it to be a much more kind of meaningful bites and chunks where you're able to focus in your recruitment efforts, whether that's updating and geofencing job posts, building community relations in those areas, layering in nonprofits. So it allows, this data gives our HR partners a lot of tools to kind of better assess and really strategize their recruitment in a very specific market. Okay, back to the slideshow. So what's really cool is, our platform becomes their solution. It's highly customizable, as I mentioned earlier, from the pickup location to the times we operate. We mirror that back at a site level. So we mirror back to their shift schedules, their data, where they want to be strategic about recruiting. So for us, it's not a one size fits all. All of our programs have their own nuance and times and schedules and distance that we run. But that allows kind of maximum efficiency at a site level. One of the other core kind of pieces of our technology is we are not an on-demand solution. We are scheduled transportation. That way it creates safe, reliable transportation. It's efficient for the companies because let's say if we kick off a program and there's for some reason there's nobody that schedules on third shift, we don't send a vehicle, we don't charge them. On the flip side, as these programs grow, as our HR partners are able to fill their jobs by layering on mobility, as we run 14 and 24 passenger vehicles, as we get to that 14th, 15th rider, we're able to dynamically increase that vehicle supply. So since demand is known, we're always able to perfectly match that with supply. And with, we've run about 3 million miles across the country. Our operations were 98% on time. So it's highly reliable for the employee and the employer, really kind of helping with those attendance challenges that they sometimes face. So yeah, and then in some areas where we don't have operations, we will partner with local professional operators. We run anything across the country from 7-passenger to some customers that run charter bus programs. That's how much they've grown throughout the life of our program with them. These are professional drivers. These are not 1099s. It's not someone's personal vehicle like on-demand services are. These are fleet vehicles, 7 plus, primarily 14 to 24. All the insurance is on us. That usually becomes a really big question from employers. What is their liability? And then we offer rider support, 24/7 phone and live chat. We also have an emergency ride home program. We understand that people, if a family member or a child, loved one gets sick, how do they get home? We provide an emergency ride home program for them so they never feel like they're out of mobility options. And then we really kind of view this as, from a company standpoint, their competitive edge. They allow, it's a massive tool for them to retain their talent at a higher rate that use the program, but then ultimately being able to use it to double, triple down in a market, unlock a market by offering transportation, so picking them up in their neighborhoods and communities. It's massive benefits for not just the employer, but also the employee. Our average rider saves about $5,000 a year compared to commuting on their own. We use the IRS reimbursement of 62.5 cents a mile. That's what the IRS says it costs to commute between fuel, depreciation, wear and tear on their vehicles. So in some cases, this could be, a 15 to 20% essentially pay increase by just diverting them spending on commuting, getting to and from the job, and using a stress-free, reliable transportation service. So that's the retention piece of it. And it also becomes a monster recruitment tool in retaining and keeping and finding top talent. And then most of our programs, we're filling 14-passenger vehicles. So we're pulling 13 single occupancy vehicles off the road, which just helps, our roads in Ohio, our air quality by fighting pollution. And then lastly, and then we'll open it up for questions. This is really how we calculate the ROI, the return on investment, for the businesses themselves. So every job that is, sitting there unfilled, whether it's, a line manufacturing job, a food manufacturing facility, a logistics facility, if they're paying an employee $18 an hour, they expect roughly 4x on a conservative level, 4x productivity out of them. So every hour that job goes unfilled is costing that business $72 an hour. And if you work 20 days on average per month, an 8-hour shift, that one job over the course of a month is costing the business roughly $11,500 of productivity monthly. And this is actually a slide we built out for one of our partners, Purdue Farms, where they've been able to fill 70 jobs utilizing our service, connecting their rural facility to some population centers. Their gained productivity monthly is over $800,000, close to $10 million a year, by being able to take that never ending, 10, 20, 30% open jobs and really start to chip away at it. So this is how we present the ROI to the businesses, because, and then the last thing I'll say, and I'll stop talking and turn it over to questions, is we get the businesses to pay for it. That's kind of the other key piece, is we, through ROI calculators like this, we demonstrate that it is absolutely worth investing in mobility, because there's that monster productivity gain. There's the cost savings at the employee level. There's the stress-free commute and reliability at the employee level. So it becomes this really nice symbiotic program between filling open jobs, existing employees, and a productivity boost at the company level. So everybody really wins with our solution, and we like those types of programs. So that's really it for me on kind of who we are, what we do, our approach to things. So very happy to open it up to questions, or Viv, Safa, if there's anything I missed that you two want to add, please do.
Thank you, Michael. You covered it all.
Thanks. Scott and team, any questions about who we are, what we do?
So I've been very familiar with the work that you guys do. Talked to Ryan, several years back. So I'm very familiar. I'm curious if any of the team that's on has any questions or anything.
Yeah, I totally understand. It's a outside the box type program, and I'm sure the wheels are turning. We want to be a resource to Ohio Means Jobs, to the community partners that you have, to the employer partners that you have. And so when I was kind of giving the tour through our product, that's something, if you had a company that was, maybe semi-interested in, connect us. We would love to let them use that, what we call commuter analysis, for free. Send us that data. We'll build out a commuter analysis for them. We'll share all of that data with them. And if it makes them, even if they don't utilize our operational services, if it makes them a little bit more strategic and helps fill their open jobs, we view that as a win. So there's really, the only cost to working with us is if we're going to launch a full-blown mobility program for them. But yeah, if that would be kind of our ask, is if you have employers that are on the fence or you think this could be a good fit, absolutely introduce us. We'll be able to walk them through kind of a similar analysis, and then do a real deep dive on their business, just to allow them to, make better or more informed decisions.
Right. So I think one question I'll ask something for the team that has popped into my mind. Do you have accessibility by market to the employers that you're currently working with? So if, say, for example, the RESEA team is working with somebody who is currently unemployed, had that really rough patch of luck as they were wrapping up employment at their previous employer and doesn't have transportation. And so we know that that's going to be a major barrier. Do you offer up information around the employers that you're currently working with, so we could then encourage job seekers to apply at those employers?
100%. That's our goal.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And so,
so if there's a market like Cincinnati or Central Ohio, Northeastern Ohio, right? The roster of companies that we're working with is growing. But yeah, you could come to us and say, hey, we have a couple of candidates that are in Northeastern Ohio. What sort of employers are you working with? We have a couple direct employers. Then we obviously have that program with the RTA. So we could more than happy to provide. And our partners, Scott, are okay with us sharing that, because we all share the same goal of helping them fill their open jobs. So right. Without a doubt. And so it's more of a one-off ask of the Share Mobility team versus something that's just readily accessible, correct? That is true. Yeah, we don't have any public-facing database or even like a login where you guys could see where we're at. As of yet, I think that's something, as Vivian, Safa, myself talk about this, these relationships with nonprofits or organizations like Ohio Means Jobs. How can we plug that data into you and the team faster and better and kind of have that live roster? But yeah, as of now, that would be a one-off question, but totally something we can handle. Okay, awesome. RESEA team, do you guys have any other questions at all for the Share Mobility team, or are we good?
I don't have anything, but thank you for this information. It's been really helpful, definitely useful. Absolutely. You're welcome, Tommy.
Awesome. Well, Michael, Safa, Vivian, thank you so much for your time today. We really, really appreciate it. I'm sure we'll have some follow-up conversations as well. And let's hope that everyone has a great day. Thanks for attending.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks
so
for the
much.
opportunity, Scott. It's great to meet everybody.
Thank you.
Yep.